Good morning, channel friends. Welcome back. This is the last episode. By now we call them episodes or tutorials. It's all a mix. Yes. Today we will surprise you because today's stylistic choices are slightly daring if seen individually. But once they are modernized,
they fit well together. As we always say, everything is right.
So, a very old bed that I found in a house that had to be emptied because it was sold, and there were still some renovations to be done. I was unsure whether to take this bed, as it was crooked and in bad shape. You can see spots with wooden patches.
New pieces of wood, no headboard, no slats. There were only the sides, and the drawers were stuck.
It was a consistent carpentry job. Roberto came over. You have seen him in live streams and tutorials. He took it away 2 years ago. He takes some furniture, then starts working on it, and he brought it back to life. We also did some clever things as well, like putting small nails here at the back so that this part could be raised, making it easier to move or dismantle and more.
Anyway, I think it's a beautiful bed. Now you'll see the sides closely and understand why it's worth it.
I had to get a mattress that was the right size because it is 85 times 180, something like that. The measures are actually 75 by 180. I found this site that sell mattresses in non-standard sizes, but they are nice and comfortable. So I got this 25 centimeters high because I needed to raise it, as I am turning it into a sofa. So, it won't be a bed, but it will be a sofa that can also be used as a bed if needed, because it is a comfortable mattress.
So it's true, it was a bit expensive regarding the carpentry work, and I bought a nice mattress, but now I have a very comfortable sofa.
So, consider if this could be something to do at home. Maybe you don't have a sofa, and you want to use something old that you already have.
Exactly. A second room, which may be a study, can become a guest room.
And being tall, it's also a super cool sofa because you can sit on it. Should we start? Let's get started.
This bed was made with care.
Look here. This can be removed, and these can be removed. So it can actually become really small because it splits into 2 pieces, this piece and this piece, and it can be moved. So it is convenient since if you move, it is easy to transport. You should consider old furniture. It's pretty sturdy because they can be immediately moved.
Brilliant. And they are made of solid wood. The old cupboards that you see are structurally large. They are 200 years old, but can be completely disassembled. The sides, the fronts and the back. So even moving them to change rooms or houses is very easy.
We will see if working on this bed is easier when assembled. It will be convenient later, when decorating, to remove the side for a surprise. Luca, what color have you chosen?
A color that you didn't expect. A colour that one doesn't expect to put inside something classic. We can define the room as that.
Because in previous episodes they have seen everything, the restoration of a piece of furniture, and they know what colours there are: Nuit Parisienne, Pepper Blue, J'adore, Rococo.
However, it definitely lacks that strong touch to give the environment a somewhat aggressive quality that we all need. Not obvious, it has to keep a balance, meaning it has to be a colour that takes centre stage but does not distract attention from everything else. In this case, we chose Serendipity.
Well, I am happy because apart from being a beautiful purple, it is also a colour that some people struggle to accept because they are afraid to be a bit daring.
We will show the balance that it will create within this environment, which is already a very balanced environment itself, but it will add an unexpected touch to it.
So, I want to show how beautiful this color is. So, the Elizabeth brush for you and for me as well, because it is the right brush to use today. Let's start with the older parts. So this part here, and those parts that absorbs more because are made from new wood, we'll do that later. This way, we show at home that we do not dilute the paint. They think a sealant makes it absorb less, but you still spend money on it, so the cost is actually the same. They fear using pure color because the brush doesn't glide. It's not about the gliding of the brush. No, it's about manual skill. When you use the right brush and hold it by the ferrule, it doesn't matter if the paint is pure or diluted, if the surface is slippery or not. So, let's not argue, let's put the can in the middle and start. To do this side, I actually also use the pointed brush, because the pointed brush is really perfect for this type of jointing. Always remember that there is a strong percentage of red and purple, and also remember that the coverage of Magic Paint colors is not all the same. So don't expect that just because a color is light or dark it will cover or not cover. With Serendipity, the second coat is completely covering, but the first is slightly more transparent, so don't worry. Apply a nice, even coat without fear that it won't cover. So, don't overdo it, avoid drips, avoid drops, and don't do anything else. However, not all colors offer the same coverage as the pigments used to create the products are different. I use the pointed brush here, where there are carvings, decorations, and mouldings. Whereas on the smooth and flat part, I use the Elizabeth brush as it is a beautiful, soft brush and covers well. Luca, you can start from the front part and we paint everything. It's a terrible day, dark weather, cold, freezing, humid, raining a lot, unlike the last 2 days, when there was nice dry air and we could spread the color and it would dry fast, both wall and paint. We need to let the first coat dry very well on the entire structure. Remember one thing, we haven't told you yet, because we know you are a very close-knit audience. When applying color to a surface that can also get damaged, like burl or veneer, always apply pure color. The first coat must be pure, but also the second one, do not dilute it. Here I do the same thing. Though it is a new piece of wood and it will absorb more, I still apply the pure color as it covers better. It creates a base, and you will see that little color will be needed for the second coat to touch up. So, do not dilute it because it is raw wood. Also because if you dilute it, it swells, it changes, and if I dilute the color, I risk not being able to fit the backrest anymore. So it is dangerous. I say this because I have made mistakes in the past. Learn from my mistakes. When you use the new roller with the lint and you have washed and set it up, style it so it will stay softer. Roll up a piece of paper tape and do this. You are left with a nice furry teddy bear, perfect since when you start coloring, it goes into the grain. Today I need a soft, fluffy roller because I have the wood grain that there isn't on glossy surfaces. I didn't need anything special for the paneling. Today I absolutely need it. Luca, can you help me? Can you do the edges with the pointed brush?
and I will carry on with the roller. You will see how much I will cover with the roller on rough surfaces like today. We have to stop demonizing this roller all the time. It almost seems like if you use it, you are not a professional.
Even decorators tell me that they use the brush. Do what you like the most. The roller doesn't exclude the brush. Look at what I've done here with a single coat of the roller. If I don't want brush strokes, if I don't want issues, if I want a smooth, perfect finish without too many problems, I have this roller, which is fantastic. It can also save time and effort. Look. And this new roller is exceptional. Always remember, it is important when you use the roller right away to remove any mark that might appear between one roll brush and another, okay? Remember, a good roller should never be pressed down, as pressing it will leave marks. It should always be used fully loaded. Nice and loaded, nice and full. The first coat is dry. Now the second one. As I was saying before, Luca, have you already started? And the coverage is definitely beautiful. If you have, like us, a slightly gloomy day, so perhaps a pleasant temperature, but with very high humidity, you have to help yourself, even perhaps with a hot hair dryer. It will dry out the temperature, and the first coat will be more stable. Remember that if you apply the second coat when the first one is not dry, you will remove it. This is something to remember, especially when working on very glossy things or tiles. Remember this. The surface must be completely dry to be well covered. If it's not dry, you will remove the first one. Luca has already painted the front panel.
Yes, this part here is the front part of the slatted frame.
That is custom made, because this bed only had this beautiful frame, the drawers, everything, but nothing left to stand on.
I don't remember if it was there or not. I looked for it everywhere and it never showed up again. So I had to make a solid structure and add some wooden bars on which to place a good mattress. Now, the front part is nice, smooth, and made of good wood, but it has holes, unsightly screw holes, and we don't like something so modern.
We decided to apply a moulding on it. Actually, Luca decided it, because this restyling is all about you. What a responsibility.
Now, I have already heated it up. This is a very thick moulding. It is nearly 1/2 centimeter high. The thicker they are, the more time it takes to heat them up. Moreover, the more you heat them, the more they retain heat. I actually heated it 5 minutes ago.
Yes, more or less.
It's still soft. It's true that we take more time to thicker ones take longer, but they retain heat and can be handled for longer.
In fact, the slightly finer ones are a bit more delicate. Now I'll heat it up well again, and then you'll help me place it on the surface. It's easy because with a flat, smooth surface, you just need to be careful to cover this hole properly. We use the Saratoga wood glue, Univille, and we also use the nail gun to secure it since it's a bit high. Let's get started. Always heat the front and back. Then, as it opens up and softens, you can also slightly widen it. The air passes through and we can heat it up faster. The trims solve a lot of problems, even if you have tables with strange veneers, or if you have formica that is slightly visible. A trim on the edge of the table makes everything look completely different.
Check them out, they are also very easy to put on. Let's say it would be easier for me to put the glue directly on the surface. The excess can be wiped off with water anyway, and we have to apply the second coat.
We apply some glue that then comes out from our moulding. It can be removed without problems. I start to place this. See how it unravels. Look, because the larger the decorations, the thicker they are, the more they retain heat and are easy to apply. So don't worry if the glue comes out, like I just did. Let's get the nail gun.
I fixed the first one. On the central part, it's quite central. Remember that it is important for the moulding to be very pressed. And press it down, make sure the glue comes out, because if it does, it means we are doing a good job. And the trim is nice and pressed. Remember that if you don't have a nail gun like mine, don't worry, get some headless nails from the hardware store and use those. The headless nails go into the trim and are not visible.
I go where there is the moulding insert. This way I'm going to disguise the hole even more. Although I can promise you that this gun is amazing.
They can't be seen. It's still warm. When the trim is hot, you can use a cutter to cut it. Look how easy it is. One important thing to do, as soon as it cools down, is to take a medium abrasive sponge and go over it to smooth out the sharp edge. Now, while the glue is still soft, you need to remove the excess. So, take a bit of water in a small container, use a small brush, and soap everything with the water. This way, the excess is removed. First I dampen it as we need to apply the color again. The mouldings still need to be painted too. This needs to be done quickly because the glue shouldn't have time to dry, and the water will help you easily remove everything. With a damp cloth, I will wipe again. Always remember the mouldings are beautiful if they look carved into the surface. So you need to press well to ensure the attachment between the decoration and the surface is not visible. So if some more glue comes out, it's good as there was still a bit of air underneath. Perfect. While Luca finishes removing the excess glue, I am doing the same thing on this side. I like that the moulding on the sides looks almost custom-made, a bit rounded. I don't like it to be too sharp, because otherwise I might see the cut. So I take my abrasive sponge, file the sides like this, so that it looks perfectly blended on the surface. And there you go.
Now all that's left is to take the paint and touch up. Don't worry if the glue underneath is still wet. Don't worry if the trim isn't completely dry and the glue is still setting, because we have put in the nails, so it stays in place. We can speed things up by painting. I start with the second coat of paint, also on the moulding, and finish everything off. Out of necessity, on a bed with this structure, and this ruined with woodworm holes that have disappeared, because we did anti-wormwood, we also decided to pickle it. It wasn't initially planned to use this technique, but we realized this makeover would look much better with a touch of antiquing. So, since I'm inside and not outside, I take a cloth and lightly rub it where I want to strip with a medium abrasive sponge. I do this just a little. I'm not going where there is full color because I want to see a plain purple. I want to create a very delicate wear effect.
Remember, this sponge trick takes less effort if you do the pickle by hand, without a sander, and it does not raise dust. So do it at home and don't get dirty. No harm done.
I go to this spot where there are many details and show it to you here. I dampen it well. Then you go over it carefully with the abrasive sponge. I did a very delicate thing, because we want this furniture to look sharp anyway, not too country, not too, let's say, dreamy. However, it is a necessity, because with these woodworm holes it turns out better and the style is well defined.
Very little, because we don't want to remove too much purple or identity.
Just on the edge, that also helps to break up the overall look.
I continue over the entire structure. A layer of clear wax to protect everything. And look how the colors become beautiful and full.
Whether you use Jasmine wax or Legendaria wax, it's no difference. The important thing is to apply a thin layer and massage it well, because the wax is very protective, but it must be applied well and thinly. The more wax you apply, the less it protects, because it will create a layer that is too thick, too strong.
If you can, follow the shapes of your furniture, caressing them with the brush. The finish will surely be pleasant.
Here we are, while Elisa is applying the jasmine wax on the sofa. We will show you something you might have glimpsed at the beginning of this tutorial, which is the wallpaper we chose to insert on the two side panels inside the sofa. You might discover the reason for this choice at the end of this project, but it is the right choice, as it will balance well with everything else. And now, our wallpaper expert will show us what to do.
Okay, I take the panel. We are going to apply it here, where we haven't painted.
I hand you this, it's already cut.
We have already cut a small strip to size. In this case we are lucky, because we have the width that matches the furniture, leaving 1/2 centimeter on each side, which is why we painted it purple, but we don't mind. I cut the paper very precisely along the edge. I prefer to cut it beforehand for convenience and also to manage the piece of paper better.
Then we prepared a mixture with the powdered glue for wallpaper.
Here in a small pot, I have put about 100 grams of water with a teaspoon of powder. And I will apply it with a brush, a soft one. I chose the Maggie, but any brush you find comfortable will do. I apply a layer not too thick, but not too thin either. Generous and just right. Because it is raw wood, so it absorbs a lot. I don't worry if I go off track. The glue takes time to set, so I have time to wash it off. It won't cause any problems.
I can't wait to see it all finished. Okay, I'll help you, but tell me what to do. We have to center it.
Yes, we have seen that it is a 1/2 centimeter. I would say it is centered.
Good?
I first position it with my hands and then use a spatula from the center outwards to remove all air bubbles and any excess glue. This paper is beautiful, especially to the touch. This wallpaper is made of vinyl, also washable. Excellent and practical. And it's very beautiful. I applied it. Now I'll remove the excess glue with a damp cloth.
As I was saying before, we can easily remove them this way. Now let's insert it and see how it fits.
Try to insert it, I can't wait.
Gently. Here we are. I love it. Beautiful. The bed is reassembled. The wallpaper is in place. The slat is perfectly leveled.
Everything is protected. We applied the wallpaper inside the drawers and completed them with 2 beautiful handles. Notice the detail. The handle is vintage. We collect them, and it looks great because it is a small leaf that echoes the leaf of the trim moulding, which echoes a leaf on the wallpaper. Nothing is left to chance, but seeing it together now, we know we did things correctly. But now let's go back up, because we have to show how we finished the black cabinet Alessandra started last week, because I started it and then you saw it halfway through, but it's still to be finished, and let's also see our Restauratore on some furniture. Be sure not to skip, because all the steps we are showing today are crucial. All Magic Paint products used in a single room create perfection, so don't skip. These are the original knobs of this chest. Emma and I don't like them. The others here do. So they wanted to keep the original knob, perhaps scraping it a little, or Luca even wanted it that way, dark. But I just don't like it, it's a crest. I don't like it. We chose some small knobs, which are old and were recovered. They aren't even all the same color, maybe they come from furniture placed in different rooms. They oxidized differently. We accepted Luca's request. This knob is fine, but we'll make it black. So I paint it black. They have been degreased, and Emma will dry them with the hair dryer. 1 coat is not enough. It will need 2 light coats. You see, I apply a very unloaded coat, because you have to avoid drops. Turn it over and slowly do the same on the other side. Spread, tap gently, and continue. The first coat serves as a base for adhesion, and the second one then defines the color. Can I do the first one now? This first knob had a first quick coat. It is almost neutral. Now look, with the second one it'll become darker. I am applying wax to the furniture. I apply wax on the entire structure. Look at how the black changes, how it becomes beautiful, deep, and modern. The modernity will greatly help to lighten this room. And the decoration will also change, because as we apply the protective coating, look how it changes. The difference between the light colors used and the black is even more noticeable. Now I ask Luca if he wants to give this piece of furniture a slightly more vintage look on the sides. Perhaps I can slightly antique using brown, liquid wax, and make them look a little bit more vintage. Luca, do you like it like this? Now that you see the color of the furniture, or you'd like to antique it?
I would darken it. Now that we have applied wax the wooden part, it has darkened a little more. It looks quite natural. I would darken it a little with the liquid wax.
I have applied the clear wax.
Now Luca is finishing it on the other side. The antiquing wax Noyer fonts will darken very little. Look, it's really a veiled effect, because I don't want to cover up the tones laid by Alessandra at all. But look, it's really a very light veiling that echoes the warmth of the wood we brought out in the front. So the Noir Fonts wax applied on the transparent wax, which is still very wet. It is still damp, and look at the effect. I do it light and gently just to warm up the tones a little bit. Perfect, Luca. I really love it. Beautiful.
Yesterday, I applied the Jasmine wax on these drawers. Why do I apply the Restauratore now? Because the finish is completely different. The Restauratore not only moisturizes, but also makes the surface brighter, more beautiful.
So, I suggest you do what I am about to do now. Only if you have already sealed at least with wax this piece of furniture, this raw surface, and then over time, in the coming months, protect it also with the Restauratore. The finish is amazing.
The Restauratore will be absorbed by the surface, but remember that it should be applied in a completely different way.
As you can see, I apply it to the brush and massage it onto the drawer. You shouldn't let the Restauratore dry for hours. It's actually completely the opposite of what we usually do with wax and oil.
Take some of it in on the brush, apply it to the surface, and then massage it immediately. I have done half a drawer.
And I will immediately start massaging to polish this exceptional product.
Take a cotton cloth, a cotton rag, it shouldn't have a long lint, and massage.
It hydrates the wood for a very long time, making it truly velvety. Try running your hand over this wood and you will see what happens. The texture is fantastic, exceptional. And it's ready. So try it, as it really is a different product.
This chest of drawers is an antique piece. You may have already seen it in some live where I had applied jasmine oil on it.
I've protected it with wax and oil, and now you will see it protected with the Restauratore. The protections are different. No better or worse, just different.
So, to recap, we have seen the Restauratore working on some raw wood drawers that have only had wax applied, and now you see it working on this chest of drawers that has already had several layers of protection over the years.
This is a piece of furniture that absolutely should not be painted. It is a valuable piece that must be preserved, and we also have the responsibility to keep it as beautiful as it has come to us today. Okay.
So up to this point, I spread it and I polish right away with a soft cloth. Look at how the Restauratore brings light on a piece of furniture like this. Up close, I don't know if you have the chance to see, but it is extremely bright, incredibly velvety. It is truly a beauty cream that hydrates the surface.
I repeat it. It is not a piece of furniture that is ruined. It is a dresser that stays inside. Up to here you see it nice and shiny, moisturized. Here it is duller. This makeover is finished.
I am always right.
You are.
I was right to call you because there was no one more suitable for such an environment, as it was too difficult.
I knew that with your skill, abilities, and unpredictable combinations, you would manage to create a masterpiece.
You are too kind. The challenge was tough, but we like challenges.
We like them, and I want to show people at home that with high-quality furniture, you can create beautiful homes of this level. I also want to make people understand that even with furniture that costs less, that chest of drawers can be found in many second-hand markets for 150 to 200 euros at most. The sofa was a super recovery that many people would have thrown away, and I had it fixed, even by spending little. With good taste, the right combinations, some guidelines, and a bit of study, Luca provides this. Especially study, you can achieve very refined, beautiful environments.
Maybe that's not what you want. Maybe you don't want a sophisticated environment. Maybe you want an easy and light environment, but you have to understand.
The balance of colours creates a serene environment and keeps everything on the same line.
And I connect to this because people come into the shop and say, which colour should I use? I don't want a mishmash of colours, but in this case, the mishmash of colours actually made everything better.
Because we have pink, we have mauve, we have almost madam around, we have sage, we have black, we have blue, we have red, we have green, we have all the blues, we have iris, we have vintage, we have all the colours in here, and yet they all look good. But why? Because we mixed them well. Now we will go down to Emma and Alessandra that was surprised by the panelling. She didn't want it blue.
But we'll go to talk with her. Girls, what do you think?
You did a beautiful job. We did a wonderful job. I really love it.
I think people at home will want more tutorials like this, in the sense that they will want more and more tutorials where there are final makeovers, because they need to do this. They need to learn with you how to make maybe a piece of furniture with the right decoration. They need us to make mistakes, to learn, to understand. They need someone like Luca to help them make these rooms perfect, because you make one piece of furniture and you make another, but you lack the link to make everything perfect.
And I wanted to show you this with more tutorials, a big episode, that perhaps color alone is not enough, but many things are needed to make the elements unique. And we had to organize, but we managed to do it today. Right? Now you will see lots of footage that Franco will add.
And he will definitely show you all the details, because there is a lot to capture here.
I'm very happy that I have left so much furniture in raw wood, because you know how they always say that I paint everything and I don't respect time. I, who don't respect time. Check this out. See you at the next makeover. Goodbye.